Well, hi folks. Here I am. I'm out at Birch Grove. Got my campsite. The lake is right there. Just right there. Kayaks right there. I want to get out on that lake. I got my truck tent set up. I put an extra tarp over the top of it. Skies are patchy and dark on and off. And it looks like we could get some rain. Sky ain't going nowhere over the next, well, today's Monday. I'm not going anywhere today, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not leaving till Thursday. Even if it rains. But this is day one, and it's 12:30 in the afternoon. I've been here for about, I got off to a late start, typical of Sky. I got here at about 10:30, so that's 2 hours. And I've got camp all set, everything's set up. I got some wood cut up, not a lot, but I got some wood. I got a couple mesh bags full of split wood from home. And there's tons of wood laying all over the place. So I'm going to gather a little more wood. And then I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to go out on the kayak and fish a little bit. I'm not taking a camera with. Not with this weather going the way it is. I don't want to ruin a camera. But if all goes well and the fishing's okay, I definitely will be out with the camera before too long. If not today, then tomorrow I will definitely have the camera mounted on the kayak and be out there paddling around and fishing. But right now, today, first day out, I'm just kicking back, relaxing. I'm not going to do a lot of video work. This is day one. I'll probably, if the weather holds, I'll probably film my supper. So, until later guys, probably supper time. I'll see ya. Oh, I got some news for you all. For something that's going to be coming up next year. And it looks pretty absolute. So, well, I'll tell you right now. I got in here. Forest Ranger came through. And we spent about 45 minutes chatting while I'm setting up camp. He's yakking away at me. And he's convinced me. And he radioed into his supervisor. And she said, absolutely, have him stop at the ranger station, fill out the form. I can have this campground and be the host of this campground for 3 months in 2020. I would have the campground June, July, and August with the option of September as the host. Which means I get to pick the campsite I want at no cost. And I just stay out here as the host. And they said, you do whatever you want. There's only a few little chores you do each day, but otherwise, all you're here for is to answer questions for folks. Nothing else. You're not an enforcement person or anything like that. You're just here for campers that want to ask questions. And he said, you'd love it. He says, I know you'd love it. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. And I said, can I bring the Sty Adventure trailer in here as my base camp? Absolutely. So I talked to his supervisor on the radio. And she said, boy, sounds great. She says, you sure you don't want to do it now, this year? And I said, no, because I'd have to use my truck tent to live in for the next 2.5 months. And I said, no, no. Once the site adventure trailer is done, that would be perfect to be a host out here for 2020. It'd be just the 1 year. She says, you know, you could do it year after year. I said, no, I just would love to do it for 1 year. So, that's on Stuy's bucket list, and it's at the top. And it looks like it probably will happen. And it will happen at this campground. I think it'd be awesome. So we'll see what happens. But I'll see you at dinner time, okay? Hang on, guys. We'll see you then. Well, folks, here I am. Birch Grove, day 1. It's 7 o'clock. I've been putting off dinner for about an hour and a half. Every time I go to start a fire, I look and there's these nasty clouds rolling in. You might be able to hear that fire's crackling next to the camera here. So, last time I filmed, I had just finished getting camp set up. Since then, I was out on the kayak for, about 2.5 hours. My butt hurts. Fished. I must have caught 150 little bluegills. So small that you'd have to have 30 of them to make a meal. Not worth it. Not worth it. Some of them were almost as big as my hand, but barely. So I'm thinking tomorrow, just because I'm hungry for fresh fish, if I can catch me a half a dozen that are fairly the size of my hand, they're only going to be a couple ounces a piece. They're tiny. They're tiny. Didn't get a single large bluegill at all. But if I can get a half a dozen little ones, I might fry them up just to have fresh fish. Even though they're really not worth keeping. All the bluegills in this lake seem to be stunted. Just stunted. They're probably overpopulated. The way they bite, I mean, I can take a night crawler and break it into 6 pieces, and I can catch 2 dozen little bluegills off of those 6 pieces. Because for every piece you're throwing out there, you're catching 4. But like I said, they're tiny. They're tiny, tiny, tiny. But I have to say, I had a good time out on the kayak. And this goofy weather, it can't make up its mind whether or not. Once I decide that, oh no, it's gonna rain any minute, it breaks up. Then I'll go, oh wow, I can get a fire going. I got a steak to cook. I got a steak and I got some fresh mushrooms and I got some onions to saute, and that's what I was going to have for dinner, was steak with sauteed mushrooms and onions. Now I got a fire going. Now one thing I don't like with this campground is these fire pits they have. They got those great big barrel type fire pits, and it sits almost, well, at least 18 inches off the ground. they've got cooking racks on them that you fold over on top of the fire. But oh my gosh, you'd have to have one heck of a roaring fire just to reach that grate with any heat. So I got kind of a unique way that I'm going to manage to cook my steak. I'll probably be able to saute the onions and the mushrooms all right on this, but I've got this thing, I'll show you. Got two things here. Got this little, it's about a 6-inch cast iron frying pan. That's what the onions and the mushrooms are getting sauteed in, with lots of butter. This thing. Now this thing you're supposed to be able to just cook in it over a grill, okay, like a barbecue grill. I'm going to cook my steak on this. I'm going to set this puppy on the coals. I'm not sure though. I'm thinking of setting it upside down, right over the coals, and cooking my steak right on the surface of that. Solid steel. I think it'll work. I think it'll work fine for grilling my steak. And then, of course, he doesn't bring dishes. When I get cooking, I'll probably show you what I'm up to, and then I'll show you Stuy's fine china for eating his great steak tonight. So hang tight, folks, when my steak is on cooking and the onions and mushrooms are sauteing, I'll take the camera over there and show you what I'm cooking for supper. And then I'll show you my meal set on my table here. But for day one, my first day out here, very good. Very good. I'm enjoying it. I'm really starting to relax. I only have one other camper in the whole campground. There were two here when I got here. One left. They were packing up, I guess, when I got here. So I only have one other. It's a couple, and they got a camper way on the other end of the campground, so we never see each other. That's good for me. So until supper time, I gotta tend this fire a little more, and I'll get right back to you. Well, there's a look at my dinner cooking. I've got in fact, I better stir that. I've got onions and mushrooms. Sauteed onions and mushrooms, and meat. Really nice New York strip steak there. That's dinner. It'll be done in about 10 minutes, and then I'll jump back on and talk to you while I'm at the dinner table. See you in a few minutes. Well, folks, there it is. There's Sty's dinner. Sauteed onions and mushrooms and a New York strip steak, hot cup of coffee, all on a birch bark slab. Sty's fine china. And I'm gonna dig into it. Oh. It's perfect. Oh Lord, is that good. Oh, is that good. Nice way to wrap up the day. Now I'm going to just finish my meal. I'm going to sit around the campfire till the sun sets. Then I'll call it a night. Well, that's a short video for day one, isn't it? Oh, yeah, the steak turned out perfect. Oh. Look at that goodness. Well, thanks for tagging along. If you're new to the channel, punch my ugly mug. If you're not, there'll be some videos you can catch up on. Otherwise, can't wait to see you in the next one. I'll see you tomorrow. And until then, you all have a very, very nice day while I have a nice dinner. Bye-bye.